Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sadie and Sean Have No Friends, the newest episode. And I hope you're doing well. And Sean, how are you?
I'm good. You're good? You
You
good?
always say that's so exciting. I was telling
Good?
Sean, I'm good, thank you.
Good.
First, you know what? Let's thank our sponsor, our show sponsor, Christiana Salon and Spa. Seriously, they are amazing. And if you go there, they're located by the Shields in Johnson's Corner in Johnstown. Listen to me, Sean. And
I was
if you
trying to find this stat. I found it the other day and
okay,
I
hold
can't
on,
find
hold
it.
on. Let
You
me
do your
finish.
thing. Hold on. Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
If you mention Sadie and Sean Have No Friends, you are going to get 10% off of your service. How great is that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's incredibly cool. So thank our friends at Christiana Salon and Spa. And stop down there. I'm reading this book, and off the air, I
You
told
didn't let me
Sean.
find my stat. It had to do
Oh,
with Christiana Salon.
oh, it did? Okay.
Yes.
Do,
I don't know what the number is, but it was like 30 something percent of people want their hairdresser to cut the chit chat.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So
with Uber and stuff, you can request that. You can say, I don't, my
you have to
microphone
pay
is
more.
weird.
You have to pay
You
more.
have to pay more for them not to talk to you?
Yeah, it's like Uber Comfort or something like that it's called, and it's a little bit more, and then you get the option on how you want the thermostat set, what you want on the radio, and if they talk to you or not.
I think that's stupid because couldn't you just get a regular Uber and be like, not in a chit-chatty mood today?
I mean, you
Or
could,
I'm
but
a
you
little
didn't pay for
chilly.
it. So if they want to chat or they want to leave their temperature the way they want it, they get that right. But if you pay for it, then they almost have to.
I wonder how much money, you
It's
know?
only like I think last time I was doing it, the Uber Comfort was only like $3 more, and I got it, and then the options pop up, and they're like, "What temperature?" And I was like, "I don't care." "What radio?" "I don't care." "You want them to chit
Why'd you
chat with
pay
you?"
for
"I
it?
don't care." I just thought it was cooler. Like maybe the car's better because
Maybe the
I've gotten some
seats
shady
recline.
Ubers.
I
I
know.
don't know
Isn't
that
that
they check the
funny?
cars. Yeah, like a 1997 Toyota Corolla, and you wonder if you're going to make it to your destination.
Yeah, that's true. But when we travel now, I mean, gone are the days where you rent a car because we travel now and we do everything with Uber, and so we just call the Uber and pick it. But I don't even know. I guess I've never like looked close enough. I did not know that there was an Uber Comfort, but it sounds like it's kind of lame.
Well, I'm
But I guess if you want to pay $3 more, you can say, play Conway Twitty. That's my job on a repeat for the 4 hours that we're driving because
I
I'm
don't know that it
emotional.
gets that specific. I think you get to pick the genre.
Okay, see, it's unraveling.
Yeah, it's
Um,
not worth it. Don't pay the $3. Although, have you taken an Uber in Las Vegas before? Because
yeah,
that's expensive. And
that's
we're going to Las
expensive.
Vegas next week. The wife and I are, and we're staying off the strip somewhere, but we're doing things on the strip. And it says right there, and like when you book the hotel that's off the strip, an Uber ride is $40 one way. So please rent a car if you plan on going to the strip. And
Oh,
so I went to go
really?
rent a car, but the rental cars are like $350 a day too. So in other words, I'm
I
going to
mean, where
spend
are
all
you
of
gonna
my Vegas
go?
budget on travel.
Yeah, but where are you gonna go? The thing about Vegas that's really great is that you go anywhere and you can walk. I mean, are you
No,
staying on the strip?
no, that's what I just said. We're staying off the strip.
Oh, you are.
It's a
Sorry,
it's
I
a
wasn't
40
listening.
it's a $40 Uber ride from the hotel where we're staying to the strip.
Oh, why would you stay off of the strip if that's
Because
where everything's at?
I'm going for a bowling tournament. The bowling tournament's off the strip, so we're staying where I'm bowling because it's a pain in the
Oh.
ass to carry bowling balls around.
Well, you would know.
Yeah.
So that's so funny because when you told me that you guys were going to Vegas next week, which we're still kind of figuring out how we're going to work this. We're going to try to record a couple extra, and then I'm like, I don't know, should I do like where I just have a different guest host on while Sean's gone, or would people just rather not hear anything at all? Let us know in the comments of what I don't even know what the fuck to do.
There's people that listen to this that always want to be on. I get hit up by people all the time that are like, if you ever need a guest host, let me know. I'll send them your
Okay,
way.
well, send them my way because I need somebody to talk to. I was telling Sean off the air that I'm reading this new book. It is so good. It's one of those books where, do you like to read? You don't, do you?
Nope.
I think you said that. I love to read. And so this book is like, I just want to finish this book. It's so good. And it's about the Kennedy women, all the women It's called Ask Not, and it just came out. And it's about all the women that these Kennedy men just fucking went through, man. And like really kind of ruined a lot of these women's lives. Like, I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to try to give you an easy example because I know you're not pop culture, right? Okay, so you know who
JFK
John F. Kennedy is.
And Marilyn Monroe.
We're going to start at the top. You know who JFK is.
Yes.
Okay, and his son is?
Robert.
All right, guys. It's
JFK Jr. Night. He died in a plane crash in Martha's Vineyard.
Okay, so if you read this book, it talks about how he was married to this woman, Carolyn Bessette. And
who was JFK Jr.?
JFK Jr. And he, I guess, was always like a daredevil, and he just didn't give a shit. And he's like, and he would pressure the women that he was with to do it. Like, we can whitewater raft without a water vest and without a life vest, and women would do these things because they were so horny to be a Kennedy. You know, like I'm horny to
be a Kennedy. I'd do it too.
No, it sounds awful if you read this book because they just go through, like, they marry, and the woman's job is to just ignore the affairs and put on a beautiful front so they can eventually get into office. But anyway, back to Carolyn Bessette and John F. Kennedy Jr. She didn't want to go on this fucking plane ride that they died in. And she said he didn't have his license. He didn't have a license to fly a plane. He didn't have enough hours. And she's like, I just don't, it scares me. And he said, here's the deal.
How do you know that she said this?
Because it's in a book that I'm reading right now. And I'm sure the person did their due diligence. Was there somebody
standing around listening to their conversation? Because everybody that was on the plane died.
That's the thing is, you know, she told a lot of people how she felt, like at her job. Like, I don't trust this dude. I don't think he was very smart. That's how they're kind of projecting it. He was kind of just the dumb rich kid where it was like, this didn't work, so I'm going to do this. And since he was a Kennedy, he wouldn't get in trouble for flying without a license. It was like, it's a Kennedy. We just so anyway, this story just made me so sad. She was like, I'm scared. I don't want to go. And he said, how about this? I will make sure my flight instructor is on the flight. And so he'll be there and I'll be there and I'll just and she's like, okay. Well, she shows up. Sure shit. Guess who's not there? The fucking flight instructor.
He was scared too.
I don't even think John Boy even asked like for him to show up. I think he just wanted her to get there. So she gets on the plane. Her sister gets on the plane. The plane crashes because he's a dumbass. But it tells each story about like Ted Kennedy, who killed the girl in the car crash. Oh, it's so sad. But anyway,
there is no Kennedy curse. They're just idiots, is what you're saying.
They are complete dipshit, dumbass idiots.
What about JFK?
I think he was smart enough to get. So if you read about the Kennedy family, which I don't know why, maybe I'm horny for the Kennedys, but I've read a couple of books, and the parents groomed each one of those children. One of you will be president. Just bottom line, you don't have a choice. You're going to be president. And it was originally the parents put all the money on the oldest boy. Well, he was killed in combat. And so JFK stepped up. He ended up winning it, which that ain't bad. If he got like 12 kids and the second one, it only takes the two of them to get into the presidency. That's pretty amazing. But
that mom was probably pissed that she had 10 more. Like, I didn't even need to have 10 more. I was just playing the odds game, thinking that I needed 12 of you. And the second one made it. Like, why did I even have 10 more of your ass?
And then she has to like raise disgusting Teddy Kennedy, which he's awful too. But that's just kind of
Isn't there one running for president this year in like a weird
Bobby?
party?
That's Bobby Kennedy Jr.
Who's
that's
Bobby Kennedy
Jr. So JFK's brother
is Bobby,
and he was assassinated when he was running for president.
Oh, was he? I didn't even know that one.
You guys to read more books about the Kennedys.
All the books I read about the Kennedys are about the JFK assassination and all the conspiracy theories, and I do love that. Like,
conspiracy theories, not conspiracy theories.
That's what I meant. I get obsessed with it, like so much so that this is a true story, and I hope these people don't hear this. But 2 years ago, I was like flirting with some companies for jobs because I was leaving the job that we used to work together in radio. I
Yeah.
was leaving
Yeah.
that for sure. And some people found out about it in the industry, and I was very fortunate and very blessed that they
Yeah.
were making offers around the country for me to come work for them. And one of them was to go do a morning show in Dallas. And between you and I had zero interest in it. It wasn't going to happen.
No.
I wasn't
I
going.
think I
And
remember us talking about
yeah,
this.
but they kept coming at me, and they kept like, well, you really should just, why don't you come out at one point, like the fifth conversation, they were like, before you tell us no, just let us like send you to Dallas for 3 or 4 days and make sure that it's not a right fit. And I told Shannon, like, the only reason I'm going is because I want to go to Dooley Plaza, which is where JFK was assassinated. And then
Yes.
they turned in the book depository where
Mhm.
what's his name? Lee
Supposedly he
Harvey
did it.
Oswald shot into a museum. And so I was like, fine, I'll go to Dallas for 3 or 4 days. I just make sure I
Sightsee.
can go to the museum. And so I did. It's the whole reason I went, because and dude, there's still people, conspiracy theorists, that I was there on like a Tuesday afternoon. I was one of 5 people in this whole museum, in this whole plaza, and there's still people that are set up right there with like signs saying it's a conspiracy
It
theory,
was
and
an
they want to talk
inside
to you, and
job.
yeah, they want to talk to you and tell you about it. This happened in 1960 something.
Well, and what are you going to do about it now? Even if the person for sure had proof that it was a setup job, what am I going to do? I'm going to be like, holy shit, that's crazy. Well, thanks.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, I
what do
stayed
you want
away
me
from
to do?
them
You
because
want me to
they
call the
seemed a little weird.
CIA? I'm
It
not going to get,
seemed like they wanted money. Like, hey, stop and talk to me. I'm going to tell you what really happened, and then I'm going to ask you for $100. I was like, stay the fuck away from me.
they're
I'm
like,
just here for the museum. I just want to look at it myself.
I actually have gone to that place too. And what's creepy is where he was shot, John Kennedy. Somebody put an X on the
Yeah,
street
and
where it's
the
like,
street is
this is
still
where it
used. The
happened. Yeah,
street is
there's
still
cars
used, and
going
there's
up.
people out there standing on the X trying to get pictures in the middle of this damn busy road.
Which is so weird that we are, as human beings, not everybody, but I know myself, I'm drawn to that stuff. I want to see where that happened. As messed up as it probably was, I'm sure it was horrific. I still want to go and see where it happened. But
Let me tell
anyway,
you this, the scariest part for me, in case you ever plan a trip to go, is I didn't have any transportation, speaking of Uber rides. And so I
mhm,
took an Uber to the museum, and it cost me like $45, and I'm there for a job interview, the job I'm never going to take. And I'm like, dude, I'm not paying $45 for another Uber ride back to my hotel. So I decided I was going to hoof it. And
yeah,
that
uh-oh.
area in
It's
Dallas
pretty
is
skeezy.
rough. And so I got to this bus stop, and there was gang fights happening there, and I got really fucking scared, and so I ended up calling an Uber anyways. So moral of the story, if you go, don't
Just get an
walk in that
Uber.
area. Yeah, don't
Don't
walk
walk
in
it.
that
Isn't
area.
that weird? It's true. It's pretty ghetto where it all happened.
Yeah,
And
and it was nice then.
I love seeing things like that because you see so many pictures but also just to sidetrack here, you didn't know that his brother, Robert Kennedy, ran for president and he would have probably been elected. And then he got assassinated in a
What year
hotel.
did that happen? In the
Oh my God, I'm
70s,
going to
probably?
butcher this. I don't know. You
I
know what?
didn't
I
know. I
act like
really
I
didn't
know a
know
lot
that.
about the Kennedys, but
Why
the
didn't they
truth
make a
comes
big deal?
out.
Yeah, why didn't they make a big deal about that? Like, that's a
They
small piece
did.
of that's
Mhm.
no, that's like a cliff note in all of this JFK shit. Like, oh yeah, his brother got shot too. There's no museums about that. You can't go to the hotel room where Robert Kennedy was shot and check it out, see the
Well,
blood on
yes,
the
you can
carpet
because
and
it's
shit.
not it's not a hotel room. He was giving a speech at a hotel, and
Oh,
somebody in the crowd shot him. And yeah, that was messed up too. They've actually made a couple movies about it. There have been books written about it, but it's okay. It's okay, Sean. You learn
he was
something
a
new every
shithead too.
day.
Was
Well,
Robert a shithead?
I think they were all just they were all just raised by the dad with this mentality of like, cheat, go cheat, do what you want. There are no rules for us. And so they legit cheated on everybody. And it really destroyed a lot of these women's lives. And it's
Why?
just
If you're
because,
Marilyn
okay,
Monroe and you know JFK's already married and you're the other woman and you let yourself get that wrapped up in it,
yeah.
knowing you're the other woman, that I hate to say this, but I blame you.
I understand. And what I'm telling you is Marilyn Monroe is just kind of what everybody knows. And actually in this book, each chapter is a woman that they tell the story of, and she's very short because, you know, that's just like a side note. But like, okay, so for example, Robert Kennedy, who I think is running for president right now as an independent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he was married to this woman. Her name was Mary. They had children together. They were married for many, many, many years. And he left her for this actress who's on Curb Your Enthusiasm. This is getting way off track, but he left her, and the woman committed suicide because after he left her, he cut her off from the Kennedy money. It was like, you're on the struggle bus now. And could you imagine going from Camelot to the Dollar Tree? I know I couldn't imagine that. That would probably suck. I'm just used to the Dollar Tree, so it's all I know. But
no, you were worse. You were used to Target, and then you quit your job. Now you got to go to the Dollar Tree. That's why we're all worried about your mental health too.
Oh my God! Wow, that was a lot.
You all right? Been meaning to bring this up.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. For fuck's sake, we're just stop trying to deflect from the fact that you didn't know that another Kennedy brother died. And then Teddy Kennedy, you know, he never ran for president because he straight up came out and said, I don't want to get assassinated. And I'm the coward of the family.
And somebody shot him anyway?
I wish I...
Is Teddy still alive?
No, he died. But
of
he of old age. But,
good for him. There's not too many Kennedys that make it to that point.
Well, that's why he was like, I'm not running for president. Everybody gets shot in my family who runs for president. And in a way, I kind of can't blame him, you know?
How come there hasn't been a president assassinated in a long time?
I don't know. We had Abe Lincoln, and then we had...
Only you lived through that one.
Right. Somebody did.
Alive then.
So, shut the fuck up. I'm like 4 years older than you. Also, somebody tried to kill Reagan, but they didn't do it.
No, they got him though. They hit him. They just didn't get the important parts.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you like to read, if you're interested in this kind of,
you know, as I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but as like polarizing as politics are these days, I'm happy that it hasn't happened, but I'm surprised it hasn't because
it's true with Trump and the people that hate Trump, the people that hate Biden.
Well, and there's people that still hate black people, and Obama was our president for 8 years, and no one even tried to shoot him.
Thank God. Remember when somebody threw a shoe at George Bush?
No, Jr.? I never heard about that.
He was doing like a press conference and someone threw a straight up shoe at him and he dodged it like a fucking ninja. And I was like, holy crap, George Bush Jr.'s got some skills.
They're cowboys. They
don't mess around.
I kind of I like the pop culture part of the presidents. I hate politics. I've said it a million times, and I mean it. I don't just say that because I don't want to talk about it. I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it. It's a war zone, and it's nasty, and it's ugly, and I hate everything about it. But I like looking back on the pop culture of it, like looking back and watching Bill Clinton be the guy that was like playing the saxophone on Saturday Night Live, and like that human part of them and the cowboy part of the Bushes, and like I don't even know what party these guys were, but I like that. Like it's fun to see that these people are actually human after we get out of all the bullshit that comes with politics.
I just felt sad because the women that married, you know, you're right, the mistresses, whatever, you're dumb if you do that, but the married women who like devoted their life to being a good Kennedy and showing up and like having the babies and dressing them up. And yes, you live a beautiful life, but I mean, when they cut you off, they cut your ass off. They were saying that this Mary Kennedy had to borrow gas money from other moms to get her
There's
kids.
No such thing as alimony with these people.
It's the Kennedys. I don't know. I don't know. It just, it didn't touch on that.
They're so rich that you would even like if they didn't give a fair amount of alimony, like you don't get half my shit, but here's $100,000. Go away.
I don't know. It didn't go into that. It just went into how drippy dick all these people are. And it's just really so sad. Some of them commit suicide. Some of them, you know, it was very common. As close as Bobby Kennedy Jr., who is currently running for president, he tried to have his wife committed. That was a very common thing. I mean, thank God. That's
committed.
kind of,
what's that mean?
It means a man could walk in and be like in the 50s and the 40s and they could walk into a mental hospital with their wife and say she's fucking nuts.
Oh.
And then they keep them there forever and ever and ever. There were some women who just would be on their period maybe, and they were just emotional, and their husband's like, ooh, you got saggy titties and I want to trade up, so you're crazy. And they would put women in these mental hospitals to die. And he tried to do that to his wife. And he got to the mental hospital and she's like, I'm not crazy. And the doctor was like, she's not crazy. Take her home.
Dang.
Oh, if that were so.
We know who you're not voting for this year.
Well, yeah, drippy dicks. Uh-oh. I don't have any options, I guess.
think, yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I'm pretty sure all politicians, it might not be a Kennedy problem. It might be a politician problem.
Yeah, but I think the Kennedys were extra dirty. Extra dirty. But anyway, that's all I wanted to tell you. I wanted to say, Sean, I know you don't like to read. Maybe get it on tape, like a book on tape or whatever they have. Audible, which you can also find this podcast. We're on Audible too. But after you find us on Audible, look for this book because
what's it called one more time?
It's called Ask Not.
Okay. I might actually really check this one out because I am so like enthralled in the whole JFK assassination thing that this is still an offshoot of that.
Yeah, they really talk about JFK Jr. He was a complete dipshit. And, you know, like half of what Teddy Kennedy got kicked out of Harvard for cheating. I mean, every Kennedy kid was a dipshit, but they just had an amazing, powerful team behind them that could make anything go away. They had fixers.
I'm not saying that JFK, because he's the only Kennedy that I really know about. I'm not saying that he was good or better than any of these people, because we obviously know about the affair with Marilyn Monroe, but like everything you read, he was one of those presidents like where both parties, it didn't matter who you were, like everyone felt like this guy was like the savior of the United States at the time. Like he was the perfect president.
And it just took one random person to shoot him. Isn't that weird?
Well, I think that's the thing. Like the more people that hate you, the less likely you are to get shot. It's like when everyone loves you, there's these radical people that come out of nowhere.
And some people just do it to see many people be hurt, you know, like they're so hurt.
Maybe, but if you believe all the conspiracy theories, it wasn't even any radical people. It was the government. They didn't like the fact that he was involved with the USSR, Russia. Okay,
I have a question. How do you not know about Robert Kennedy, but you know about the USSR?
Because of JFK.
Okay, no, that wasn't really my question. My question is, what other conspiracy theory do you believe? Because I feel just in my lifetime on this earth, there have been so many things that have flipped in my brain where I'm like, that wasn't true. Aliens, we've gone down this road. We do not have to again. Yeah. Aliens, one thing where I was like, hell no, that's not real. That's movie magic. Oh no, I do think it's real. Also, I listened to a 3-hour long episode of Joe Rogan, and they were talking about how the moon landing.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm more and more convinced every time I read something about it that was staged.
You should look up this episode because it actually has a guy, and he's like, here's how it was done. And
that all has ties to JFK too, by the way, who was the one that orchestrated the whole thing.
I know. And you know what? When Ted Kennedy killed this girl, first of all, he flipped his car off a bridge because he was drunk driving. And then it was knee-deep water, and he just left the chick inside the car. He could have saved her, but he just left. And he ran away because he didn't want to get into trouble. They say he passed houses where the lights were on. They say that she survived for over an hour after the accident. He could have saved her, but he went back to his hotel and just pretended like it didn't even happen, and she ended up dying. And not to get weird, but they say it was very gruesome because it just, her oxygen was turning into, poison.
Did he get in trouble for that?
No, because you know what happened? That following week, the man landed on the moon. And so guess what was totally wiped from the headlines the fact that, and so anyway, you should read this book, Sean, for as much as you love, I think I've got you somewhat dialed in. And I think you would dig this book.
Yeah, they should turn it into a movie.
Well, they've turned it into many movies.
Well, one. So that
you want just one?
Read the fucking book.
Yeah, that's true. Like an True Hollywood Story episode,
Yeah,
only the
that would
Kennedys.
that would be a good one. But conspiracy theories, the other one that like the
You're kind of like,
I've been going down this rabbit hole lately, and this one's a little bit more sensitive, so I'll be sensitive in how I say it because there was a lot of lives lost, but 9/11, like there's some things that
mm.
don't add up.
Yeah, I think my parents totally think that was not a thing. My mom retired and she kind of got really into these super websites for Republicans and
Yeah,
like deep, 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 deep,
right.
deep. And she's like, Sadie, steel doesn't melt at that temperature. And I'm like,
Right.
real? I don't know. And then I'm like, am I just easy to mess with? Because I'm reading this book. None of this could be true. And I'd be like, you drippy dick, Robert
Right.
Kennedy Jr. You're a horrible person. But I don't know. I guess I'm easily convinced. And I think if somebody cornered me in a grocery store and explained to me how the moon landing wasn't real, I'd be like, holy crap.
Yeah, if you explain it the right way, you can be very convincing. The thing is that like when there's millions upon millions of people who also buy in the conspiracy and then they do like research and there's so much stuff that points to these some of these things being set up and like solid evidence that these people come up with, I'm just like, who, how do you not believe that?
No, I don't know. It's really
But
bizarre.
then I also, like, can, like, wipe it clean from my conscience, and I'm
And
like,
just pretend it's
"No,
not a
yeah,
thing.
these people are crazy, they're nuts, they have nothing better to do with their time, and they've found ways to twist the story, and why would the government ever do that? Why would they kill 3,000 innocent people for no real reason? And it makes no sense, that would never happen, and so I can go to both sides really easy.
But then you watch a movie about collateral damage and you're like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
oh,
true.
shit. You know what is like a conspiracy theory that a lot of people have? And I don't know where I land on this, but it scares the ever loving heck out of me is the COVID shot. Because I
Yeah.
look back now and I think, that was such a hard push. I remember being told, you will never travel again. You'll never be
Mhm.
able to get on a plane. You'll never be able to do anything unless you get this shot. And we did it. Not everybody, but a lot of people did it. You didn't do it?
No, so here's how close it got for me, because I have a lot of family members like your mom that are very hardcore to the right, and those are the people obviously that were like, "You can't get the shot, you can't do it, this is why you can't do it," and there was a big piece of me that bought into a lot of that stuff, and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna avoid it as long as I can, I'm gonna avoid it as long as I can," and it was towards the end of COVID. They were starting to let people get back together, but that's when you had to have the shot and you had to have the
The
card that went along
card?
with it, and so I'm gonna tell you something illegal again today. Um, it was the ACM Awards, which is one of the big country music award shows. It was in Las Vegas, and I went out to interview the artists, and I got some tickets to go to the show. It was at the brand new Las Vegas football stadium. They had just built one of the first events, and in order to get in that year, you had to show your card, your vaccination card, to get into the ACMs. And I was like, dude, this is like 2 years into the vaccine. I'd gone this long without getting it, and I really didn't want to, but I really wanted to go to this show. So I told Shannon, I was like, dude, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get the shot. I want to go to the award show. She's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I've heard of people that have
Like their
made
hearts explode.
they've made their own cards. And so I made my own card, faked the
No.
card,
That's
faked the
like a
card.
big
And I
deal,
was
I
so
think. I
scared. I
don't
was thinking that
know.
thinking back, it's so dumb. Like, you know who was standing there at the gate when you were getting your ticket to check your card? The
Uh-uh.
same person who was scanning your ticket that's making
know.
$12 an hour and doesn't give a shit if you have a card or not. Just show me whatever's on your phone. But in my
Yeah.
mind, for like 3 nights after I made this fake card, I was like, dude, there's probably a cop there. I'm going to go to federal prison for making a fake card. And I probably didn't sleep for 3 days leading up to this, but I got in. I never got the
And that
shot.
was it. And then you were, but
Yeah,
like
never
walking
did the
up
shot,
where
and
you
my
just
heart
like,
is safe.
see, I get scared because I'm like, but the same company that you and I worked for, like you had to get the shot. It was
No,
like
at
you,
one point they said you had to, and then all of a sudden they took it back because there was some pushback, and they were
I
like,
think I
"We
got it in
highly,
that in between moment,
yeah,
John,
we
where I'm like,
highly
well,
recommend it, but you no longer have to." Because I almost got it then too.
yeah, the whole situation was so weird. I remember one day I was, I don't think I'll ever forget this. I'll probably tell my grandchildren if my heart doesn't fucking explode. But but I remember I was working out and I got a call from the school. And so of course you answer it and you're like, dear God, which one did what to who? And then I answered it and it was a woman and she's like, I am from the health department. And your daughter sat at a lunch table with a girl that ended up with COVID. And we're trying to trace how many people now she has been in contact. So as a hypochondriac, I'm like, holy, this is Contagion. This is the movie Contagion. And we had to go through and give her all this info of who she's been around. And the whole thing, now that I look back, it's very scary to me because I think it felt just so pushed and so rushed. And I don't know if that was a good decision.
Well, the craziest part about it to me was it wasn't an illness. COVID wasn't an illness that was killing like the masses. It was the only people that were dying from it were people who were already going to die. Basically, they were already super sick. And if they got a normal cold, or a flu, which basically COVID was, we learned they were going to die anyway. And so they were forcing this vaccine on us for something that really our bodies as younger folk was going to fight off anyways. You don't need it. And so that's what scared me. And so it's easy to go down that rabbit hole too, but then it's also easy to go on the other side, like I said, and say, why though? Why does the government care? Why do they want to put this in people and make their hearts explode? That's one less person to pay them hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes, it seems.
I don't know, but do you think it could be an environmental thing and this is a way to thin out the herd because we're doing so much damage, you think?
Maybe, but the herd's already in trouble. That's another problem that this world has right now in the United States specifically is the younger generation doesn't want to have kids. And so we're not reproducing at a rate that's going to refill the population. So they don't need to kill out people because we're not producing enough people anyway. So
I don't know.
The whole thing's crazy.
You watch that show about the English people who are on welfare and you're like, we are fine. The population, these ladies are just pushing them out by the day. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to go to check out that sweet pet of the week. We're working with our friends at Second Home Rescue. And the reason why we're able to do that is because of Casey Zimmerman. He owns Casey's Pest Control Services. And you can find his website, Casey'sPestControlServices.com. If you hate bugs or mosquitoes, or I guess pests could be anything. What if it's an alligator? Can you call him for that? Or what do you do?
I'd call Casey first. He'd at least point you to the right direction.
What kind of pests do you take care of? So
My kid. Thank you. Take care of 5-year-olds.
So you just completely threw me off track. Go to their website if you have any questions or if you have anything gross that you want to get rid of. And then in turn, you can adopt a puppy. Boom, your conscience is clear. That's it for today. We will see you tomorrow. And goodbye. Subscribe. I only say that now because it pisses
doesn't piss me off. I don't give a shit if you want to say shit that people don't listen to.